So here's it's about a month update on the Topwork, the Mango Topwork project. We had some local budwood and some Florida budwood. The Florida budwood not from your typical sources. Let's see here. So let's just start with these right here. This was the Sugarloaf, these two right here. These were the least impressive pieces of budwood I got. Nothing was really pushing, so I'm not really surprised that one is a clear fail, that black one right there. And this one still has some green in it, so we'll hold out some hope for that. Can't get that in focus, unfortunately, but there's some green in there. I don't have high hopes for it. This CAC graft failed. This is the local budwood. This is Florida budwood. This failed, and I take responsibility for some of these grafts. I rushed a few because it was really dark, and I butchered a few, and I knew they were a low probability. So there's 2 for sure fails, probably 3 fails. And then these CACs over here, which were much better grafts, local budwood, doing well. You can see this graft right here. Tons of growth on that already. So this is going to be the dedicated CAC branch. Up here we have M4 Florida budwood that pushed and just stalled out. I'll get into why I think that happened with some of these anyway. This right here is another M4 fail, pushed and failed. This one up there is an M4, it's pushed and kind of stalled out. Another M4 right next to it is a fail, pushed and failed. More M4 fails up here. These are, all the M4 is Florida budwood. Failed, all these pushed and failed. Cotton candy, some Florida budwood. They took nicely. Really nice grafts. Local budwood, ST Maui. Now I know I butchered 2 of these grafts for sure. I mean, it was ugly. It was very dark outside, and I rushed it, and I didn't have high hopes. But this one right here took, and it's doing very well, as you can see. Venus, just like Sugarloaf, this was some Florida budwood, and I didn't have high hopes for it. It wasn't pushing anywhere, so that's a clear fail. This one still has some green in it, so we'll give it a chance. Fruit Punch Florida budwood, taking off and thriving, as you can see. Doing really well. This is another M4 that pushed. You can see at the tip right there. Pushed and failed. But this M4 right here, right there, took. So I have one for sure successful M4, questionable one that's pushing and stalling right there. Like I said, I'll get into why I think a lot of these pushed and then stalled out. Right here we have Sweet Tart. Right there, you can see very vigorous take on that one. This is another Fruit Punch. As you can see, very vigorous. Not very vigorous, but taking off, growing well. This one right here, this graft right here, another Sweet Tart, pushing like crazy, as you can see. So Sweet Tart is looking really good. Cotton candy is looking really good. ST Maui is looking really good. CAC is looking really good. Fruit Punch is looking very good. One M4 is looking very good. And I cut off, I think, 2 fails. So it was a CAC and I believe a Venus. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was a cotton candy, but either way. So I think it's more than a 50% take, I think, on all my grafts, or around there, somewhere around there. I don't care to do the math, but I'm still undecided, local versus shipped. The results I got from the shipped budwood was what I expected. You know, the budwood that was pushing did really well, and the budwood that was barely pushing or wasn't pushing at all didn't. So I think that's probably the main factor, getting budwood that's actually pushing. So where I think I screwed up is I had insanely vigorous growth over the whole tree after I grafted. And I wasn't diligent enough. I didn't strip off the new growth that wasn't the budwood or you know, a branch that I wanted to grow. It flushed out everywhere, and I didn't strip like I should have. So I think that's why the majority of these pushed and then stalled, because the rest of the tree just was pushing everywhere and taking over. So that's my lesson learned. I've been obsessively stripping anything that isn't mature leaf on branches that I want to keep, or new leaves on the grafted sections. Everything's coming out that's not grafted or a branch that I want to keep. Like the original tree here is Glen. I'm going to keep this maybe one main branch of Glen. So I left these old hardened leaves that can actually photosynthesize. Old hardened leaves I left, and anything young that was pushing was stripped out after I learned my lesson. So going forward, I'm going to redo some of these fails, and I'm going to be super obsessive about stripping out any new growth below the grafts, or anywhere on the tree for that matter, that's not the budwood. So there's your 1 month update. I'm pretty pleased. Of course I would have loved, because I was trying to emphasize M4, I would have loved for more of those to take, but that's fine. I have one, and maybe two, and I do have some backup budwood I got to replace those. So cotton candy and CAC, sweet tart, those are looking really promising and growing very well. So maybe I'll give another update after I redo the failed grafts, and we'll do another month update. Let me give you just a walk back so you can see the lushness of the jungle. Forgive the lighting, it's been hot here, so I've been just doing my work and filming. I don't do filming, I rarely do filming, but I do film. I'm gonna film when it's cool outside. But here, it's kind of lush out here. We've hit 95 a couple times, been 90s consistently for a couple weeks. Pretty lush out here. Might as well tell you, I stripped the butterscotch sapodillas that I had. I stripped off a total of probably 12 this year. It fruited heavily for me on this little tree, but I want a strong tree. I left 2. I was considering keeping 1 or 2. I decided to sacrifice them for a healthier tree. Not a tour video, but since I'm here and I'm probably not gonna, oh, there's one of the butterscotch. They would have, I'm pretty sure, gone to maturity if I let them. Patience, this is a patience game though. you've seen previous videos, I said I was going to strip this mulberry and let it fruit again. So there's your stripped and pruned, and it's already flushing out and giving tons of berries coming on. Anyway, there's your update. Have a good one. This is one of my favorite views. As you can see, I created a little jungle hike in my front yard and backyard. It's a vibe. Take it easy.